Hi, you guys. It's Yaz, and today I have a very interesting topic for you guys. How the narcissist dies. Everybody wants to know whatever happens to the narcissist. Where do they end up? So I'm going to give you 5 things that could happen to the narcissist. And, you're going to see that it all makes sense and how the narcissist ends up where they end up. So how do you think the narcissist ends up? How do you think they end up dying? One of the ways they end up dying is by accidents, okay? Nobody gets into more accidents than a reckless narcissist. And this is what we know about narcissists. They're very reckless, okay? They live double and triple lives. They go around the clock. They go from one supply to another supply to another supply. So they're not getting rest. They're running around. They're tired. And, what does that do? That causes accidents. Car accidents, other kinds of accidents, slip and fall accidents. So narcissists are reckless. And when you're dealing with reckless people, they're going to have accidents because they're not careful. They're not focused. Their mind is all over the place. And they have accidents. Some of them could have accidents with drugs and alcohol. Some of them could OD because they overdo it, all right? Because, again, they're reckless, all right? They're not careful. They're not taking care of themselves. They're looking for that high. They're looking for that instant gratification. So one way that the narc could end up dying is by accidents, all right? I remember seeing on one of the reality shows where this narcissist, he ended up getting in a car accident because he was trying to outrun the cops and everything. And he died in a car accident because he lived a reckless life. And a lot of narcissists are criminals as well. And when they do that criminal type of activity, it's a dangerous kind of thing where they could end up having an accident. Next, how the narcissist dies. Another way a narcissist could end up, dying, or what happens to them is they get very, very sick. And again, it's for the same reasons I said before, because narcissists don't take care of themselves, or they ran their body through the gamut and they may have ended up with high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke. Now, for all the trolls that come back at me, this doesn't mean that everybody that gets heart disease and stroke or anything, it's because they're a narcissist. I can't believe I even have to put this disclaimer on here. But I get people that, they come back and they think in absolutes. So the narcissist, a lot of narcissists end up, dying younger than you think because of sickness. Because, again, they abuse their bodies. A lot of narcissists are addicts. They're into drinking, drugging. A lot of them may get STD and get sicknesses and diseases that way. Also, keep in mind, narcissists are they're filled with anxiety, and a lot of them are depressed. So that anxiety could shoot up their cortisol levels and get them sick as well, because they're always worried about what people think about them, what their image is, how people view them. So a lot of them are very stressed out individuals. But what does that do? They end up projecting all of that stress and anxiety onto you. And when you end up leaving the relationship, now you're a basket case filled with anxiety and stress from dealing with this critical, judgmental narcissist who always told you how you should do things, who always put you down, devalued you. And what's that going to do? That's going to cause you to have anxiety and depression, right? So narcissists not only make themselves sick, but they make their victims sick. A lot of people end up with serious sicknesses, diseases, cancer, thyroid issues after dealing with a narcissist because of all the stress levels or all those, heightened cortisol levels in their body and wreaking havoc on their immune systems. So narcissists, they could die in a lot of different ways, especially because, they don't live a wholesome life. They don't take care of themselves. They don't rest. A lot of them are falling asleep because they're constantly going. They run down their bodies that way. They don't get enough rest. And, one way, like I said before, was accidents. The second way they could end up dying is by sickness, okay? And what's the third way that the narcissist could end up dying? All right, you guys, you're not going to believe this, but it does happen. Someone could seek revenge on the narcissist. This is where we see shows like Snapped, crime stories, where a lot of times in those shows, narcissists play with the wrong people. They may play with somebody who's a super empath, and that super empath has had enough. A super empath feels deeply. They feel deep to the core. And when a narcissist plays with their feelings and emotions, a super empath could snap, all right? Not to the point of maybe killing somebody, but maybe hurting the narcissist really badly, okay? Because it's hard for a super empath that feels that deeply to snap back. So they may seek revenge on the narcissist. And this is where you see, like I said, shows were Snapped. I saw a show on Snapped where there was this girl from DC, and she was dealing with this guy. He was narcissistic. He was a big player. He was, jerking her around every which way. And, he thought he could do this to her and to all these other women that he was playing with. And she got a gun and she actually shot him, all right? She actually shot him because she had gone over the edge. She had gone over the edge. And this is what happens to some narcissists. They play with very sensitive type of people, maybe a super empath that feels so deeply, and that person is not going to let it go. That person is not going to heal the way somebody else that might have got hurt would heal. So they may seek revenge on the narcissist. They may even send somebody after the narcissist, okay? And that's where you hear about, somebody going after the narcissist, maybe beating them up or doing something to them, right? So narcissists, this is why they're so paranoid all the time. They're always looking at the door to see if somebody's at the door. They're always looking around the restaurant. They're either worried about somebody cheating on them or they're worried about somebody coming and knocking them off, all right? Especially if they've screwed over enough people, because narcissists build enemies. See, when you're an evil person and you step on a lot of people's toes, eventually you're going to step on the wrong person's toes and that person may come for you. And narcissists know that. They're self-aware to know that. That's why they're so paranoid. That's why, narcissists are always checking the locks of doors and this and that. Not just the victims, but narcissists as well, because they're afraid, because they know they've done people dirty, all right? So the fourth way or the third way narcissist may end up bad or die is by revenge of a very scorned individual, okay? That could happen. Next, another way that narcissists may die, in prison, all right? A lot of narcissists are criminals. A lot of narcissists are in and out of, facilities, prisons, right? So a lot of them may die in prison after, stealing from people, robbing people, hurting people, because a lot of people in prison are narcissistic or narcissists, right? They don't have empathy for their victims. So a lot of them may end up in prison or may even end up dying in prison. Next, you guys, on how the narcissist may die. I brought up about how they have accidents. A lot of them are drinking, drugging, running the streets. A lot of narcissists are running the streets. They love the streets. The streets are where the action is. And that's what narcissists love. They love the action. They love the drinking, drugging, prostitution, and fast money. So a lot of narcissists will be hanging out on the streets, all right? They want to be where it's at, and they want that instant gratification. So they may get hurt or they may die on the streets. This happens. This happens all the time. I knew somebody, he was into bad things. He was out of Chicago, and, young guy, like 34 years old, but, he was playing with the wrong people. He was dangerous himself. He was a dangerous dude. he was dangerous himself, but he was always hanging out on the streets, and they ended up shooting him one time because he had obviously been playing around, doing the wrong things, and he got killed. That, it's sad to see that, people end up that way because they live reckless lives. This is what it is, you guys. They live very, very reckless lives. Now, I'm going to go into the last way a narcissist could die, all right? The last way a narcissist could die is suicide, all right? Sometimes a narcissist will take their own life. Sometimes, the funny thing about all of this is a malignant narcissist likes to threaten you by saying they're going to commit suicide. I actually had a malignant narcissist that tried that with me, where he threatened suicide. And some of them don't go through with it, and some of them actually do. And the thing is, anybody like that, you have to distance yourself from, because not only will they take themselves down, but they may take you down as well. So that whatever they're going through, they have to seek their own mental help. Somebody like that could be a very dangerous person to be around, and they could end up losing their mind and taking you down, especially a narcissist that is losing control. They may be losing control because they don't have supply anymore. They may have gotten older. They may have gotten busted with something, all right? I knew a narcissist out of Brooklyn. He was doing something he shouldn't have been doing, all right, on the streets, and he got busted. The cops came in and were going to bust him because he had a whole big thing going on there, all right? And he committed suicide because he didn't want to go to jail, all right? Because he knew he was going away for a very, very long time. So he just, decided, I'm going to take the easy way out, and he shot himself, right? So when narcissists feel like their world is spiraling out of control, sometimes they will look for an out and they will commit suicide. Now, again, I got to put a disclaimer on that. That doesn't mean that everybody that commits suicide is a narcissist, okay? Okay? But what I'm trying to say to you is this. This is how some narcissists, not all, this is how some narcissists may end up, because some narcissists may really have a big narcissistic collapse where they don't have supply anymore. They burned a lot of bridges. People don't want to deal with them anymore. They're lonely, and maybe they don't have money, okay? Because here's the other thing you got to keep in mind. A narcissist who gets older and has money, they will always be able to get supply. There'll always be somebody that will go with a narcissist who's got money. Even if they don't care about them, they'll still be with them because they're after their money. So the narcissist won't necessarily be alone if they have money. But a narcissist who doesn't have money, who's lost everything, maybe lost their family, lost their children, can't get supply, it's not working for them anymore, burnt a lot of bridges, that's going to be a narcissist who starts to collapse. And some narcissists in that position could commit suicide, right? And like I said, if they really feel like they're losing it, they may try to take whoever they feel responsible for that down with them. And that's what happened to my friend Gala when she was dealing with a narcissist and she was looking to leave him. He felt like he was losing control, okay? He felt like he was losing control. He was a very violent, malignant narcissist. And he showed up at her job and he shot her and then shot himself, okay? Because he felt like his life was over. His life was over. So this is like when you got to really be careful if you're dealing with somebody like that, because they could be extremely, extremely dangerous. You want to distance yourself from people like that. They're not your responsibility. They have to be able to help themselves. And if they don't want to help themselves, there's absolutely nothing you could do, all right? And like I said, they may be so low, they may try to take you down too. So, narcissists, this is what could happen to them. They could end up having accidents. They could end up, accidents too doesn't necessarily mean they lose their life. They could become disabled, like the narcissist I knew who slipped on a piece of ice and now has a rod in his leg, all right? Where my girlfriend said, oh, Scrooge got his, all right? And they could get sick, all right, because they abuse their bodies with drinking, drugging, sexual promiscuity, where they take a risk. They take a risk of catching diseases, right? It's just a fact. They may have to worry that somebody's going to come and snap and try to hurt them, not necessarily kill them, but may try to hurt them badly, right? Or do something to them. That's why they're so paranoid. They may be a criminal and be in prison and die in prison, or they may end up in and out of prison. That could be their destiny. Or they could end up committing suicide, right? Or the last one, the way the narc may go out, is in the nursing home or hospice all alone and bitter and torturing everybody in the hospice because they no longer have any control, okay? And I knew nurses that dealt with people like that dealt with narcissists that were at the end of life, and they were really angry, bitter, and they used to fight with everybody over there. They had no family, nobody visiting them anymore, and they became very, very cruel and vicious till the end of time, okay? Until the end of their life, rather. So these are all the 5 things that could happen and how the narcissist will die, all right, you guys? It's a very sad reality for a lot of narcissists, and what people don't realize, they all see the narcissist move on to the new supply. They may seem happy, but listen to me when I tell you, because I lived a lot of life. Not everything is what you think it is, okay? And if they're a toxic person, there's always going to be trouble in paradise. Always trouble in paradise. They'll end up with multiple failed marriages. They'll end up with kids that don't want to know them because they weren't there for their kids. They'll end up with health issues. They'll end up with accidents. They'll end up feeling like their whole world is tumbling down because they're going to lose control as they get older. This is what's going to happen to them, and this is going to be how this will be their demise, all right? So I hope that helps you. If it does, hit the subscribe button, share the podcast. If you're looking for confidential one-on-one phone coaching, check out the link in the bio. I have limited time, you guys. It's askgaz.wixsite.com/thegameexposed. My TikTok is The Game Exposed. Facebook, I have a new page. It's facebook.com/thegameexp777. Instagram is The Game EXP123, and YouTube is The Game Exposed Podcast. And have a great day.